And we are going to start with a week one recap. For those of you who have been here before in the past years that we have done these college football recaps every Tuesday, it's been a bit of a madhouse cluster where we've just recapped almost every game or talked about every game from the week before. We're not going to do that because, quite frankly, there just weren't a lot of meaningful games. So, instead, I have 3 games picked out. Actually, four picked out that I want to talk about. Three games this week picked up that I want to talk about that we will recap, and then we will move into our week 2 preview, which will be a little bit different, which our previews this year, instead of just previewing every game in the top 25 or highlighting a couple good ones, we are just going to highlight a handful of good games for the week. Talk about week 2. We only have one. We'll get to that after the week 1 recap. So, without further ado, let's get into the week 1 recap. That is not the right display capture. That's also my football picks, which we will talk about when we get to picks. There we go. So, our first game that we are going to talk about. Our first recap game is obvious. It's already here on the screen. Texas at Ohio State. This game was supposed to be the coronation, if you believe the media. This game, if you believe the media, was supposed to be the coronation of Arch Manning as the guy. Paul Feinbaum's words, he's going to be the best college football player since Tim Tebow. Teams are going to be tanking for Arch Manning this year. Not quite. Arch Manning, and I'm not even saying this is just an Ohio State fan, Arch Manning looked like a guy who his only true meaningful action was against Louisiana Lafayette. His mechanics were terrible. I don't know what was up with all of the Patrick Mahomes-esque sidearm throws, not stepping into throws. He missed a bunch. And then when he was in position to make plays, and Texas looked like they were trying to threaten the big one, that goal-to-go situation that Texas had when they were only down 7. When they were down 7-0, Steve Sarkisian got outcoached by Matt Patricia. Hello, Ash. I have no comment on that, by the way. I don't know what to say. And this Texas team has a phenomenal defense. And you could see that. But Ohio State had a great defense as well. And Arch Manning, the coronation's going to have to wait at least a couple more weeks. Texas plays a nobody this week. And I'm sure the media is going to be all up on him, because he'll probably throw for a bazillion yards against San Jose State at noon on Saturday. The interception he threw was one of the worst I've seen. It was just, phenomenal play. I believe it was Davison Igbinosun, if I remember correctly. I gotta go find it. My brain's already forgotten. No, Jermaine Matthews, actually. Phenomenal play by Jermaine Matthews, who baited him into throwing it, but Arch just was bad. That's really all I got on this. Is anything I could really say, all has to flip back to Arch Manning was terrible. He was awful. So that is our first game. Little note, one of the two touchdowns, the rushing touchdown, Ohio State's offensive line didn't look great. CJ Donaldson, West Virginia transfer, scored a touchdown from a yard and a half out. But Ohio State has a get-right game against Grambling. Woo. Again, Ash, no comment. Is that confirmed? Is it confirmed that he has something wrong with his shoulder? Because, I mean, that would be the only explanation for some of the just piss-poor throwing mechanics. We'll move on to the second game we're going to talk about from week 1. And that is Florida State beating Alabama 31-17 at home in Tallahassee. Alabama. Not confirmed, but yeah, I mean, it's the only way it makes sense with how bad some of his throws were, especially those, especially that second to last throw he had where he just got here and just in a weird sidearm motion when he didn't have to throw it sidearm, and he just did not look right, and the coronation's gonna have to wait a couple weeks. Was throwing like Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, that's not a bad way to say it, to describe it. Alabama went into Tallahassee. Florida State was a 13.5-point underdog, and coming off of a 2-win season last year. Alabama has problems. Kalen DeBoer has lost this team. I think the key thing to say about this game, 31 rushing yards was Alabama's leading rusher. I think they had a total of 80 rushing yards total, if I remember correctly. 87, I'm sorry. It was just Florida State had their way with Alabama. If you watched this game, you would have thought Florida State was not playing Alabama. If you were to have watched this game and there were no logos, you wouldn't have thought that just the way Alabama was playing, that it was not Alabama. This team is so far from where Nick Saban had this team, and it's actually kind of funny. Ty Simpson, deer in the headlights. The offensive line was a sieve for Bama. Tommy Castellanos played great at the quarterback position for Florida State, and Ryan Williams really was not good for Alabama when Alabama needed him. Alabama is a long way off, and the fact that people thought that this was a national title team, national championship contending team, is comical. And our final recap game. The game that I called on Sunday night for the sidecast, Miami at Notre Dame. Miami lost 24-27. This game was ugly for a while, raining in South Beach. Carson Beck, I mean, I am not a Carson Beck fan. Full disclosure. Carson Beck looked like he was on a team that had more talent, more offensive talent at least, than Georgia. Notre Dame, on the flip side, looked like a team that was not the national runner-up last season. Big hangover for them. Defensively, a spot where Notre Dame hung their hat on. They got pushed around a lot at the excuse me. In the middle portion of this game, they got pushed around a lot. Notre Dame, a team that offensively they prided themselves on running, only 94 rushing yards. Jadarian Price was their leading running back. Jeremiah Love was really a non-factor most of this game. And a lot of messy play from Notre Dame. They have what really, because of how bad their schedule is, they play one more currently ranked team next week in week 3 against Texas A&M. It very well could be an elimination game for Notre Dame. They got stuff they got to clean up before that. Miami, on the flip side, I mean, they play in the ACC. They'll be around pretty much all season. But, and I answered this, I believe Ash was the one who said it on Sunday night, of, is Notre Dame good or is Notre Dame bad or is Miami good? I am not sold on Miami. Having watched them, I mean, 5 for 14 on third down, not good. They were just messy all around, a lot of points. Didn't turn the ball over. They had the weird kicking goof. And defensively, once we got late into the third quarter and then into the fourth, Miami's defense turned back to what they were last year, where they were just comically inept at playing football. So I'm not sold on them yet either. They have probably a cookie this week. Bethune-Cookman, so we won't see a real test from Miami until week 4 against Florida. And that will do it for our recap portion. We now will move into the preview for week 2 before we get into our picks. We only have one game really worth talking about. We'll actually make it 2, though, because I did forget this second game was happening. We'll start with this one. Iowa at Iowa State, the Cyhawk. I only really have this game, quote-unquote, highlighted because this is the yearly measuring stick for Iowa. Iowa State, they're 2-0. They beat Kansas State over in Dublin in the wacky Week 0 game. It is always a shit show. And then they just beat some FCS team, whoever, South Dakota. And then Iowa beat Albany. Iowa always looks good in that first week. They always score a bunch of points in that one of those early season games where everyone's like, "Oh my God, Iowa's offense might be good this year." And then they get to this game and it's a dud. So this will be the game kind of worth watching in the earlier slate, just to see if Iowa is possibly going to be relevant in the Big Ten. Something worth noting, Iowa's quarterback, Mark Gronowski, threw for a whopping 41 yards and a QBR of 24.5. And the actual game that I am going to be keeping an eye on, even though it will be happening at the same time as my sidecast on Saturday night. Here it is. Here it is. Michigan travels down to Norman to play the Oklahoma Sooners. A top 25 matchup, top 20 matchup at 7:30. This will be Bryce Underwood's first road start. He had a solid game on Saturday night against New Mexico. Jonathan Mateer, transfer from Washington State, had a good game against whoever the heck they played. Illinois State. Okay, well, it was Illinois State. The spread on this one, Michigan has gone to a 5.5 point underdog. At one point, it was as high as a 6.5 point Oklahoma favorite. This game will be interesting, and we'll talk about it when we get to the picks as well. I don't know what to expect out of this Michigan team. Bryce Underwood is a much better upgrade at quarterback, but he is still a 18-year-old true freshman. This Oklahoma team looks like they could be legit. This will be a big test for both of these teams just to see what we're actually going to get out of them. And that is our truncated preview. We're moving right along, which is exactly how I wanted this format to go. Let's roll into the picks. And, wait. Now we can talk about my record. Week 1 was meh at best. We went 18-13. We had some that we were wrong on in grand fashion, like Boise State. We had some also Wake Forest was another one we were wrong on in grand fashion. We had a couple that I was wrong on in the way of also Kansas State and LSU Clemson. Oh, and even Oregon State, actually. Same thing with North Carolina. Not really, that one not really worth talking about. A couple of those I was wrong. Not really worth talking about. Let's move into the picks. Friday night, our first game, Maryland hosts Northern Illinois. Maryland an 18.5 point favorite. Give me the Terrapins here. Tickets starting at $2.04 or $2.40. Is that still lower? No. Week 1, there was a game where it was $1.55. Just worth keeping an eye on. Give me the Terrapins here, though. Saturday slate. Illinois is a 2.5 point favorite at Duke at noon. This game I will be keeping an eye on. Give me Illinois here. Both teams 1-0. Give me Altmaier and the Fighting Illini. Also on noon on FS1, Kennesaw State, a 35.5 point underdog against against Indiana. This screams to me, and I'm going to be wrong on this. This game screams to me Curt Cignetti is going to find a way to cover. Give me IU here, 35.5 against a not very good Kennesaw State team. Point spreads are getting bigger. Noon on Big Ten Network. FIU travels to Happy Valley to take on Penn State. Give me the Nittany Lions is a 41.5 point favorite. They'll find a way to cover. Nope, we almost missed a game. On ESPNU, Central Michigan 1-0 travels to Acrisure Stadium to take on Pitt. These tickets are also $2.40. I will not be in attendance. Give me Central Michigan to cover. I don't think they're going to win, but at least give me CMU to cover. 21.5 is a lot for a game like this. I can't buy into Pitt. Ever. I just struggle buying into the Pitt Panthers. Really? I can't. So moving on ESPN Plus if you have it. UConn travels to Syracuse. They are a 6.5 point underdog at Cuse. Syracuse is going to find a way to cover. 7 points isn't enough. UConn's not great. Give me the orange. Iowa, we talked about this in the preview section. Iowa 3.5 point underdog at Iowa State. Give me Iowa State. And give me 1 second. I can't pick Iowa in this game. They've burnt me way too many times in this game. Give me the Cyclones. On the irrelevant CW, Baylor is a 3.5 point underdog in a Big 12 ACC matchup at number 17 SMU. I don't know who Baylor just lost to. This will not tell me. I will find it eventually. I'm in the top 25, so no, I will not. They lost to Auburn. Okay. Give me SMU. I had no real thought. Texas has a get-right game after playing Ohio State. They fell to number 7. They are a 36.5 point favorite at noon at home against San Jose State. Media's going to be back on Arch Manning. Give me Texas here. Big. On HBO Max, the channels keep getting more irrelevant. At noon, Kent State is a 48.5 point underdog at number 24 Texas Tech. Kent State just won their first game in 22 tries against Merrimack. 48.5 is a shit ton. A shit ton of points. Even for a team as bad as Kent State. Kent State's going to lose. But they're going to cover. I am with 69% of the people. Some people say I am a man of the people. In this case, they are right. 12:45 SEC Network. Utah State is a 52 and a half, or no, is a 29 and a half point underdog at Texas A&M. I'm not high on A&M. I'm never really high on A&M. But give me A&M in the points here. 3:30 ESPN Plus, Bowling Green at Cincinnati. Cincinnati at home. Again, Bowling Green is a 21 and a half point underdog. This is going to be one of my flyers this week. Give me Bowling Green here. Make the game at least closer. Troy at Clemson. Clemson 33 and a half point favorite. Give me Clemson here. Troy not as good as LSU. Ole Miss in an early season SEC matchup, 10 and a half point favorite at Kentucky. Wasn't this Ole Miss's slip up last year? I think it was. It was their slip up at home. And then obviously they had the LSU, and then this game where Jackson Dart threw a good number of interceptions. I don't think Kentucky's going to win this game. I think Ole Miss even covers. Give me Ole Miss at 10 and a half. Kansas, this is 3:30 on ESPN2. Kansas is a 6.5 point underdog at Missouri. I don't understand this. Give me Kansas. I just don't get that one. 3:30 on Fox. I will not be watching this game or really even keeping an eye on it. Delaware, 1-0 Delaware, an FCA, now FBS team of, I believe, CUSA. I don't know who they beat. Delaware State. Okay. They beat Delaware State. Not exciting. Either way, anyhow, Delaware takes on Colorado at Boulder. This, to me, sounds like one of those Coach Prime. They play a significantly inferior opponent. They're going to lay the smackdown on them. Give me Buffalo. Speaking of teams that sometimes like to lay the smackdown big on an inferior opponent, Oregon's a 27.5 point favorite against Oklahoma State at home. On CBS even. Oregon looks human. Give me Oklahoma State. 1-1 Fresno State, 3.5 point underdog at Corvallis against Oregon State. Oregon State 0-1. Give me the Beavers here. I'm going to probably regret this one. Let's keep it rolling, though. West Virginia travels to Athens. And they are a 3.5 point favorite. Rich Rod's squad 1-0 against 0-1, the Ohio Bobcats. Give me West Virginia here. Keep it rolling. West Virginia is a better team. Like, they have to win this game. South Florida, 16.5 point underdog at number 13, Florida. South Florida had the big win against Boise State on Thursday night. Give me Florida. I want to take South Florida. I really do, but I can't. North Carolina did not get off to a good start in Bill Belichick's tenure. 0-1, they got beat down last night. They are a 13.5-point favorite at Charlotte. Give me the Tar Heels. Bill Belichick will find a way to win this game by more than 2 scores. Saturday night, 7 p.m. on ESPN. The Army Black Knights, fresh off a loss to Tarleton State. What the fuck is a Tarleton State? 17.5-point underdog at K-State. I'm sorry, you can't do what you just did. Lose to Tarleton State and expect me to pick you. I like picking the service academies. I really do. But I can't. Give me Kansas State here. Moving on to our game that we are covering this week for the Sidecast, 7:30 NBC. Boston College at the deep end of the woodshed at Michigan State and Spartan Stadium. Boston College 3.5-point underdog. No Tommy Castellanos. Problems. Give me the Spartans. Vanderbilt travels to Virginia Tech on Saturday night in a pick'em. Virginia Tech is a half-point favorite. Huh. You know what? Give me Vandy. Number 3 LSU. 37.5-point favorite against Louisiana Tech. I can't take Louisiana Tech. That's a lot of points, but I can't take Louisiana Tech. ESPN 2, 7:30. Arizona State at Mississippi State. Mississippi State's not a good SEC team. They're just not a good team. Arizona State, 6.5-point favorite. Give me the Sun Devils. The big one of the week. Michigan at Norman to take on Boomer Sooner. Oklahoma, 5.5-point favorite. The spread has been as big as, I believe, 6.5. It opened at Oklahoma -3. And honestly, I can't pick Michigan right now. No Jayshon Barham to start the first half for Michigan. Give me Oklahoma here. I can't right now. First start for Bryce Underwood. I can't pick Michigan. I could end up being wrong on this one. University of Louisiana Monroe takes on Alabama at Tuscaloosa, Alabama, a 37.5-point favorite. Alabama will cover this one, and people will be like, oh, they're getting it right again. UCLA takes on UNLV, 8 p.m., CBS Sports Network. I can't take either of these teams. This game's going to suck. Give me UNLV. UNLV is a 2.5-point underdog. Nico Iamaleava is not good. 10-15, Stanford, 18.5-point underdog. 0-1 Stanford after losing to Hawaii in week 0. 18.5-point underdog at the Mormons at BYU. BYU hung a shit ton of points on some FCS team. I think Stanford will keep this game close. Give me the Cardinal. And to round out picks, San Diego State a 1.5-point underdog at Washington State in Pullman, right? Yes, Pullman. Future Pac-12 matchup, I believe. Why do I have this game? Give me Washington State. I don't even know why I have this game. And our tiebreaker that's irrelevant. Low scoring affair between Boston College, Michigan State. 37 total points combined. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are your picks. We will see you next Tuesday.